Chaff. Coming up this week,
Bolus Clippy here is suggesting that we try to learn some vector analysis. When it enters, create Angelo, a legendary 1/1 green and white dog. Angelo Cabinet. I can't with this stuff.
Good luck,
Shantono Tatention Magician. What's up, aficionados? Welcome back to Draft Chaff. This is episode 232. I'm Ben, one of your hosts. Joining me on the line, as per usual, is the draft dad himself, Tyler. How's it going, dude?
It feels like a long time since I've been here, but we're back and we're here and we're late, but better late than never, right?
Yeah, you know what? It's actually a good thing. We've had some time to play with these cards, get a little bit of a feel for the set. And, it's never too late to talk about the vectors that you can play in the set because, honestly, there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, this is fun. I know we were both kind of really off this set for a bit. Like, we didn't really know the IP. It felt kind of pushed, but I don't know. The more the cards got released, I was like, this seems kind of cool. And then, like, the archetypes kind of got revealed, and I was like, this seems like a ton of fun. And I convinced Ben to let me put these slides together so we can
oh my God,
talk about the vector analysis here.
Tyler really cooked with these. I mean, just wait till you see these animations, folks. And dear listener, we missed you. It's been a bit. We kind of took a little bit of time off. We always threatened that we would need to do this. Raising a young kid and me raising 60 kids as being a high school teacher is kind of like, I think Tyler has it worse, harder at least.
Yeah. Well, now you got to abandon your kids. Now you're on your summer breaks.
Technically, I have 2 days of school left, but by the time this episode drops, I will be in summer vacation mode, and man, that is going to be nice. But the end of the school year was tough. But hey, like Tyler said, the set kind of pulled me in too. I have some gripes with some of the designs in this set. The IP is not really my style, but you got to hand it to Wizards. They know how to cook.
They do. I mean, landfall, equipment, artifact matters. Like, these are like core, enjoyability things for me in draft. I've been able to kind of disassociate from the IP a little bit because it does feel kind of fantasy for some of the cards.
Yeah.
But then you have a card that's like an artifact that's just guys in a car. And I'm like, this is breaking me a little bit.
Oh my God. You know what? I should live by my own words, which is, it's not that magic is being infected by other things. It's magic that's infecting other things. Yeah. We are going to spread the goodness of magic to every IP.
But this IP seems to be bigger than Final Fantasy was something I was aware of prior, but I didn't realize how massive the fandom was. Like, I saw on Reddit, the Final Fantasy games are seeing an all-time high spike in player base, and Arena saw an all-time high spike when player base, bringing in new players, it seems, who enjoy the IP. Yeah. So if it brings more players in, I'm happy. Like, it gets me 3 O's easier at pre-release.
I guess there is that upside. The downside is that a brand new player will pick up a double-sided legendary saga enchantment creature with like 2 other subtypes and a wacky name. And it's like, well,
we're flanderizing magic at this point, but we're here for the ride.
Maybe we should have started them on Foundations. In any case, we should jump right into our vector analysis, our format breakdown here. Before we do, though, a couple introductory reminders. Patrons, y'all are the best. We love you so much. Thank you for always supporting our nonsense on this show. If you want to support us on Patreon, you can do that for as little as $1 a month. Which is honestly, that's like not a lot of money, but it helps to pay for our editing and for hosting. And we really appreciate it, patrons. Y'all really keep the show going the way it is. Hop in the Discord. We have been revitalizing everything going on over there. It just towards the end of the school year, I just could not find time to even text my friends back, let alone hang out with our amazing community. And I feel a little bad for that. So it's nice to see everyone coming back. It's nice to see all of our friends still crushing it in the draft leagues as always. And of course, you can follow us on Blue Sky. I don't know. Should we go back to Twitter at some point? It's pretty funny over there these days.
Nah.
Yeah. I don't
you
know.
Run the social medias, though. That's up to you. Maybe we should go to Truth Social.
Yeah, the Venn diagram between our listener base and Truth Social.
Yeah.
Is,
they don't touch.
2 circles.
I hope they don't touch.
If you're not looking at the slides right now, you absolutely should be. Spotify folks, you can take a look at your device. You should see the video listed there. And on YouTube, of course, you already see us. You can see my new haircut too.
Oof, styling.
Thank you. I took a lot off. It's been a pretty big mix-up, but I'm so much more lightweight. Not to flip it anymore. Bolus Clippy here is suggesting that we try to learn some vector analysis. Obviously, we here on Draft Chaff, we use vector theory to analyze cards, sets, decks, gameplay. The whole idea is that cards have a vector. They point in a direction. They are trying to do something, and it's your job as the player to figure out what that is and to maximize it by drafting, building, and then playing in alignment with your decks and cards vectors. And just as physics vectors have some magnitude and some direction, we have to figure that out for each card by asking, when is this card at its best? What does this card want us to do? And that is the context within which we will analyze the 10 vectors in this set.
Sure, yeah. So let's actually start talking about the mechanics here of this set. So Final Fantasy has a lot of returning mechanics, landfall being one of the big ones, but there are some new ones. They kind of feel like twists on things we've had in the past. So the first one here we have is called tiered. So you have the original casting cost of the card. For the example here, we have Fire Magic. It's 1 red mana for an instant. And then it has the word tiered. It has choose an additional cost. There's usually 3 tiers. There's a 0 cost, and then from there on, there'll be an additional cost. So we have Fire for 0 additional, where it deals 1 damage to each creature. You can pay an additional 2 for Fyra to deal 2 damage to each creature, or I can't even pronounce that last one, Fyraga. There's going to be a lot of words in this. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of names we mispronounce here, but this is an additional cost of 5 to deal 3 damage to each creature. So tiered is actually almost like what, Spree, what you'd say we had back in Outlaws of Thunder Dungeon in a similar fashion?
Except Spree, you could just keep paying more and more and more and get all the effects. It is a little confusing to have these so close to each other. But
this is just 3 kickers on a card, basically.
But not multi-kicker. You just get to pick one option.
Pick one option, yes. And this is good because you have an early game card that works well early game, and then as the game progresses, you could pay an additional cost to have a stronger effect. This also does change the casting cost of the card, so there's a lot of one of the vectors in It cares about CMC 4 or greater for non-creatures. In late game, you can cast this for 6 CMC and get those triggers. So it's multi-beneficial.
Mm-hmm. That also means you don't have to load up your deck with a bunch of 4-drop spells.
Yep,
like this is your cheap spell.
Yeah,
but then
it gives you options.
Expensive.
Yeah.
I do want to shout out. Look at this great UI design we have here. What a throwback. We should talk about saga creatures a little bit. These are funny. I mean, again, putting these in a set designed for brand new players, this is a little tricky even for experienced players.
Yes.
Let's take a look at Summon Primal Odin. I think flavor-wise, it's evoking the fact that you can summon like allies to help you in the game, but they don't last forever. I haven't played Final Fantasy, so. Summon Primal Odin is 4 black for a 5/3 enchantment creature. And that by itself we understand, but it's also a saga subtype knight. And then it has saga stuff where it has 3 chapters to it. When it enters, you go to the first lore step, and then for each main phase after that, you go to a new step, and then you sacrifice after the last one. So I'm not even going to try reading these names here, but the first chapter is destroy target creature an opponent controls. 6 mana 5/3. Blow something up is awesome, but you got to remember this thing is going away too. So we have to kind of remember with these saga creatures that they do go away naturally. Your opponent can sometimes just outlast them. Chapter 2 is this creature gains. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game.
Hilarious.
And to be clear, this only gets to attack once because it has summoning sickness the first turn. Now this turn it gets to attack. And then on the 3rd chapter, it's just going to get sacrificed right at the beginning of the first main phase, but it's called Hall of Sorrows. That one I will read. And it says, draw 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life. Yep. This one I have heard plays out pretty well. Is that right?
I mean, if you give it trample and they don't expect it, it's pretty nasty. But I think the summons are a fun way to explore like a top-down design from the games. Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, all the 3 chapter sagas will only be able to attack once, but there are sagas in Final Fantasy that have 5-6 chapters, so they'll stick around for a little longer.
Mm-hmm. There's an interesting tension here. You're perfectly happy trading this off during that attack. In fact, this really incentivizes blocking. It's a 5/3, so they can put mostly anything mid-rangey in front of it to trade. You're happy with it trading because it's going to die the next turn anyway, and it already blew up a creature. I mean, it's basically 6 mana, kill 2 of their things, and that's awesome, right?
Yeah, I mean, for Primal Odin specifically, it's almost incentivizing the opposite for me because it's drawing 2 cards. Do I really want to lose that when this gets to the next chapter?
Yeah, you can leverage.
You have to play around with it. It's a whole nother like mind game to think about.
Yeah, if you have enough good ones of these, definitely look for ways to get stuff back from the graveyard because they will naturally wind up there.
Yep. Let's take a look at the third and final new mechanic here we have for Final Fantasy. So this is something we've seen in the past. This one is called Job Select. Essentially what this is when these artifacts or these equipments enter, they're going to create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. And then this equipment is going to equip to that 1/1. We've had this with germ tokens in the past. The only difference here is they're going to change the creature type. So for example, here we have Bard's Bow. It has Job Select. It's going to enter and create a 1/1. But the equipped 1/1 is also a Bard in addition to its other types. These aren't really super relevant. There are certain like creature type matters in this set. Like Knights kind of have some synergies, but beyond that, they don't really make too much of a difference. Wizards as well. But just something interesting. Yeah, mostly flavor. These are proving so that we're doing this as set releases today. These are seeming to be quite powerful actually in draft because the equipment sticks around and you're getting a body as well. Monk's Fists kind of goes into any deck and you're going to get that effect as well. And artifacts do matter in some vectors.
Yeah, it's funny. These aren't quite artifact creatures. There is the blue-white vector that cares about having artifacts.
Yep.
Some artifact creatures you'll care about like getting them back from the graveyard. These don't actually tend to go to the graveyard because they're tokens. So like getting artifacts back from the graveyard isn't that good in the set, I've noticed.
Yeah.
And also equipping these, you can re-equip them, but they tend to be fairly expensive. Something else about these to note is we actually saw this in Mirrodin a little while ago in the was that Albi 1 for Phyrexia? Maybe one of the most yeah, one of the most maligned and intentionally forgotten sets. So it's not surprising that people have intentionally tried to forget about that set. But one of the sticking points of it was equipment that come in with a creature already attached are very, very good.
Yes. Kind of solves the problem of equipment.
Let's take a dive into our first vector here. We're going to call this Artifact Arsenal.net. Man, so this Sid card, am I understanding right that there's like 10 different arts of this guy because there's a different one in every game? That's
what I've learned. So this confused me. I actually opened a couple packs today and I was like, this is a different art than I put on the slideshow. Did I mess something up? Yeah, so it seems like it is. He seems to be kind of timeless, so he exists as different versions of himself.
I guess it's like in Zelda, how there's always a Link, there's always a Zelda, there's always a Ganon, and maybe more akin to how there's always like a Beetle and a Tingle, how like there's always the side character that's always there throughout the ages. Sid is a legendary creature, human artificer, and it says artifact creatures and heroes you control. Wait a minute, like the heroes made by the equipment when they come in, right?
Correct, yes.
They get +1/+1 for each artificer you control and each artificer card in your graveyard. That's a little weird, but this guy is an artificer, so it's a lord, and then maybe you can get more. But then here's the joke. A deck can have any number of cards named Sid, Timeless Artificer. It's limited. We know. You already could do that. And then it has cycling blue-white. So I guess the joke is you draft 10 of them. You cycle them as like a combat trick to like buff up your guys. I don't know. Just one of these, a format of 4/4 Lord for all of your artifact creatures and like job select equipment. This just seems good.
Yeah, no, I played against this in pre-release. It was pretty solid. Yeah, like you said, it's just a Lord that ETBs and everything gets better.
This one has very clearly spelled out the vector for us. Like if you can get other artificers in your deck, I guess that's good, but there's not too many of those. You know, there's some, but the more you have, the better. I can imagine a good curve out. And then our other vector signpost uncommon here is Titus Blitzball Star. This one is not an artificer. This is a 1 white blue 2/1 legendary creature, human warrior. And it says whenever an artifact you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on Titus. Whenever Titus attacks, tap target creature an opponent controls. So sort of implying that there's a bit of an assertive vector here. There's also some pretty good cheap 1 and 2 mana equipments with job select. So, this deck clearly wants to beat down. I mean, also having a 4-mana 4/4 Lord, that thing wants to turn sideways. So I'd recommend drafting these blue-white decks with a bit of an aggressive slant. Let's talk about Valkyrie Aerial Unit here. 5 blue. It's a 5/4 construct. It's an artifact creature to uncommon. It has affinity for artifacts. God, I love affinity for anything. Affinity is a sick mechanic. When it ETBs, Surveil 2. So let's say you have 2 artifacts. 5-mana 5/5, 5-mana 5/4 flyer, ETB Surveil 2. That's good. That's like,
yeah. And limited, solid. That's great. Yeah.
I could see casting this for like 4 or 3 very reasonably.
Definitely, yeah.
And then obviously this is just insane. Gala Cat is another good flying payoff. 2 and a white for a 1/3 flying vigilance at common. It's a cat. And it says, as long as you control 2 or more artifacts, this creature gets +2/+0. So it's not a 5/4 flyer, but a 3/3 flying vigilance. I mean, I've seen this be turned on turn 3. Just 3-mana 3/3 flying vigilance. Yep. Very strong.
And flyers are always great and limited. That's kind of why I stuck these here, especially in Azorius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually had a couple games where flyers felt like they were the deciding factor. There's a trend in this set where there's a bunch of ground creatures that just sort of spill an army onto the battlefield. And if you happen to be able to fly over for that last little bit of damage, I mean, that's what blue-white's always done best.
And there's not a ton of reach. I don't think there's really that much reach at all.
Not a ton, yeah.
Yeah. All right, now we got the Dimir. This is classic control. That's kind of what the archetype was built around. The vector kind of leads into that. We have Lock Cole here. It's 1 blue and a black for a 2/3 legendary creature human rogue. He has Death Touch and Lifelink, my favorite 2 combination, life and death. When Lock Cole deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. Nice, clean, and classic. Can't complain.
Nice.
Then we have Alta Messia?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Time Sorceress. This is 3 blue and a black for a 4/5 legendary creature, human warlock. When it enters or attacks, Surveil 2. Then at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 4, 2 blue, 2 black, and exile 8 cards from your graveyard. If you do, transform this creature. And it transforms into Ultimate Sia, sure. Omnipotent. This is a 7/7 Nightmare Warlock legendary creature. It has Menace. It also has Time Compression. So when this creature transforms, take an extra turn after this one.
Wow.
I mean, extra turn effects are always powerful, but this is what? 13 mana and 8 cards in your graveyard.
I have been seeing games in this format go longer than I expect.
Yes.
Also, what is happening in this art? Where am I looking from? Is that like a leg?
There's a lot of like giant kaiju creatures when they flip. Most of these flip creatures look insane.
They just flip into these. I guess it's like a video game boss thing where they have one phase. By the way, Lock Cole and this Ulta Messia guy, woman, not really sure what's going on.
I thought it was a woman.
I don't know the guy going on there, but in any case, they have giant wings and they don't have flying, so that's sick. Lock Cole, rummaging is a great way to fill your graveyard. This deck, I mean, Death Touch and Lifelink, those are both good on offense and defense, right?
Yeah.
This deck, clearly, if you had both of these in it, is going to want to go for that late game. Because if you can flip this, I mean, a 7/7, getting the extra turn, you spent 8 mana, and that's at your end step. This is a lot going on. I think it's pretty good if you end up getting it going. I haven't seen it flip yet, but I can imagine that's like the biggest thing on the board, and taking an extra turn with a bunch of good attackers in play is good.
No protection though, and it's just interesting. So with that ability on the stack, if you can pay for it and they still target the creature or remove it, has to flip to get that ability. So if you're paying 8 mana and exiling all these cards with that ability on the stack, and then they just kill it at instant speed, it kind of feels bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, it's tough. There's no protection on this creature. It's a big commitment. There is a lot of removal in this set. Especially in black, but
do well to tap that, I guess.
Yeah.
And look for things that can fill the graveyard.
Sure. And then a couple cards that I thought worked pretty well in this vector. We have Circle of Power. This is 3 and a black for a sorcery. Draw 2 cards. You lose 2 life. Create a 0/1 black wizard creature token. With whenever you cast it on creature, this deals 1 damage to each opponent. Wizard you control get +1/+0 and lifelink at a turn. Control, you want to kind of draw cards, survive. This kind of does a little bit of everything for that. Then we have another summon here. We have Summon Shiva. It's 3 and double blue for a 4/5 enchantment creature, Saga Elemental. The first 2 chapters are called Heavenly Strike. It has tap target creature and opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. And then the third chapter is draw a card for each tapped creature your opponent controls. Again, just kind of controlling the board, card draw. That's kind of what this deck wants to do until you get your ultimate Sia out, I guess, and take your extra turn.
Summon Shiva is a funny one. I actually had a game where they attacked with it on their second chapter, right? And I was like, okay, cool. The coast is clear. I swung with like 4 creatures, and then it went to their turn, and they're like, okay, draw 4 cards. I was like,
oh, oops.
hold up.
Yeah.
Anything with that sort of ability. I mean, that was a misplay on my part. It was my first time playing against the cards, so but knowing that now, I mean, that sort of kind of blanks your opponent's attack step in a way.
Yeah.
Like, they have to be prepared for you to draw a lot of cards off of it. And yeah, this just locking something down, it helps you get to that late game.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about the black-red vector, the black mage deck, if you will. So Black Waltz number 3 is an insane name for a magic card for a legendary creature wizard. It's 2 black-red for a 2/2 at uncommon. It has flying and death touch. I gotta say, they got really creative with the color pie on this set. Seeing a black-red card with flying and death touch, I don't know. There's some more egregious offenders. There's a white card with reach in this set. Like that one pissed me off a little bit. It also says, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Black Waltz number 3 deals 2 damage to each opponent. So it's like an extra beefy one of these little 0/1 wizards that pings them whenever you cast a non-creature spell. These are annoying magic cards.
No, I agree. And they're actually pretty easy to get out. There's a lot of ways to kind of do it quick. Yeah. And then you're just getting bolted every time your opponent plays something, and it's brutal.
Yeah, this card seems like it's a little below rate as far as the body. So you're not really attacking with this. You are trying to play non-creature spells. That is the vector.
And you're not blocking with it either, though. Like, you don't want to lose this thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird kind of setup. A 2/2 with death touches, and something that you want to keep around is an interesting kind of design.
I guess maybe it's sort of like a failsafe for when they flip their massive 7/7 flyer, and then you're like, all right, I guess I'll this thing is sort of like a stopgap. It's like, all right, they're gonna have to answer this before they can kill me in the air or something.
Yep. I not to kind of go off kind of a discussion here, but this vector specifically kind of makes me want to play Grixis a lot when I've drafted, just because there's so many good non-creatures in blue. And red-black caring about non-creatures is kind of a new design space in a way. That it really does kind of force your hand to want to play Grixis. It's fun.
Let's talk about Garland, Knight of Cornelia. Black-red for a 3/2 human knight. It's a legend at uncommon. And it says, when you cast a non-creature spell, surveil 1. Sick.
Easy. I like it.
That alone, obviously, this is great to get down on turn 2. And then, notably, you want to have non-creature spells that still make creatures to still build out a board. If only there was artifacts that made creatures when they came in. Oh, wait. Admittedly, there's not too many of the job selects in black and red, but it's definitely worth playing them. The red ones more so than the black ones, a little less common, a little less good. Or just, there's instants and sorceries that make creatures, especially more black mages. Oh, wait, there's more text on this thing. It says 3 black, red. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield transformed as a sorcery. It flips into Chaos the Endless. It's a 5/5 flyer, and it says when it dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Why not?
Yeah. I feel like it's missing a line of text, I gotta say, though. In modern Magic, where we are these days, this feels incomplete to me.
Your 2 mana that died merely turns into a 5/5. Come on. I mean,
7 mana.
Yeah, this is it's kind of funny that it doesn't even really care about the vector. It's this thing's gonna trade off or die or attack or get killed eventually. I guess you could also surveil other copies of itself into the graveyard if you have multiples. That's kind of cool. And I guess this is also good with self-mill. You can just flip this in the graveyard and you just get a free 7 mana 5/5. This card looks awesome.
Yep. No, it's been great.
So speaking of black mages, let's talk about Cornered by Black Mages. This is 1 black. It's a sorcery. Target opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice, and you create a 0/1 black wizard, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's the 0/1 that pings them when you cast non-creature. This card has been so annoying.
Yes. Any edict effect always gets like grinds my gears.
Yeah. It's often felt like they had it at just the right time, or they were able to leverage their removal. And there's a lot of big, scary creatures in this set too, that sometimes you'll spend a whole turn tapping out for. This is a very clean answer to that.
Yes.
We also have Queen Brane? Bron? 2 and a red for a 2/1. They claim this is a human noble. You're telling me that's a person? I mean, maybe which was the one in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that ate the purple thing, ate the berry.
Violet.
I
know what you're talking about. Yeah, Violet. Yeah.
All right, that's what's going on here. Anyway, 3 mana 2/1 prowess, and whenever it attacks, create a 0/1 black wizard with the ping ability. Have you played with this one at all or against it?
I did. I actually really like this card. I love things that create tokens. And then the prowess is really good because you're playing non-creatures already. You attack with this, you play something, they block with a 1/1 thinking it's going to trade off. Prowess trigger. You get the 0/1 regardless if it dies or not. So
and then you get to ping with your combat trick too.
Exactly.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Definitely want to pair with combat tricks here, which, those are non-creature spells. So that goes pretty nicely. I ended up cutting this from a red-white deck that was more equipment vector, so I haven't gotten the chance to play with it, but I could see it being decent there too. I just had better equipment vector stuff.
All right, here we go. This is my meat and potatoes here. So I'm calling this one coming in for a landing. Two reasons, real quick. This is a landfall deck, but the birds in this format they don't fly, but they do care about landfall.
Nice.
So first we have Gladius Amcita. I feel like I'm adding a Spanish flair to all these words, but these definitely not right. So this is a 4 red and a green for a 6/6 human warrior at legendary. When it enters, you search your library for a land card and put it under the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. But wait, there is also a landfall trigger. Landfall, when a land you control enters, another target creature you control gets +2/+2 and trample till end of turn. This is 6 CMC, so you should have a board at this point. And this is going to ETB, get you a land, give something +2/+2 and trample. I don't know. This is like the good top end for a landfall deck for me here.
I had the misfortune of playing against this with a deck that had like curved out with chocobos, and then this was their top end, and they just slammed that turn because they get the 1 land drop already.
Yep.
Triggers all their chocobos. They get this guy, another land, and then they pump something 2/2 and trample.
I love it.
There was no chance of me winning that game. I mean, it was just too much.
And then we have so I'm noticing a theme here too. I feel like there's one card that's specifically on vector, and then the other uncommon kind of plays into the vector, but also kind of hints at another vector that can be touched. So we have Rida, Summoner of Mist here. It's 1 red, 1 green for a 1/2 human shaman legendary creature. It has landfall. So it says when a land you control enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. It's pretty good. I like that. It's a unique landfall effect. We don't really see that too many.
Yeah.
It also has Summon X. So you could pay X, tap Rida to return target saga card with a mana value X from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. It gains haste until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So this is interesting. So red, white seems to be the Saga Matters format. And this kind of hints at like touching that. Like I feel like they want us to play 3 colors on a lot of vectors. The last card we saw, Garlic, whatever his name was, kind of hints at playing almost like a Jund vector where you're going to mill out in Golgari and then have that in your graveyard. I feel like there's almost like a hint at in some of these vectors to touch the 3rd color.
Interesting.
I actually had Rida in my pre-release game. I was almost able to return the 8 mana Knight Saga from my graveyard. It would have been disgusting. I didn't win by the time I had that. I already won by the time the saga kind of resolved. Rida was there and I tried and ready to go.
I mean, talk about win more. You literally. This one I'm a little suspicious of. I'm not going to lie. Like that sort of I mean, what if your deck only has like 2 or 3 of the Saga guys?
Yes.
I mean, they do tend to go to the graveyard, but I guess I'm just a little suspicious. Like, a lot of times you may have already won the game. I mean, maybe not to the extent that the white one would do, right? But you may have already won the game by the time they would go to the grave. I want to play with this one first, but it's interesting that there is that Saga subvector baked into this.
I agree. I mean, a free rummage on landfall is pretty decent, especially you're going to have this up pretty early. But it feels kind of vector. It kind of feels distant from the true vector of red green to me.
Yeah, it does. I was thinking, I guess you could pitch a Saga that you had in your hand, and then it's sort of just like card advantage. Yeah. You're just paying the same cost. Yeah, I don't know. I guess this is kind of cool. I'm not totally convinced.
No, I agree. And here we go. So the chocobos are the birds, I guess, in Final Fantasy. Yeah. None of them have flying, but they do care about land. So we have Saza's Chocobo. This is just a 1-mana 0/1 creature bird. It only has one ability, landfall. When a land enters, put a 1/1 counter on this creature.
It's a beautiful ability.
Eat this up. So
this is a very U card.
And this is like the best turn 1 play. I don't think there's any fetches in this, unfortunately, but this thing goes. This thing builds up pretty quick.
Yeah.
You have to kind of answer it sooner. It's gonna spiral. Like turn 6, you have a 6/7 already, or 5/6.
Yeah. I did find myself killing one of these while it was a 5/6, and I was like, I have to spend a 5-mana removal on their 1-mana
on their 1-mana
landfall. Yeah, this card's sick.
And then we also have Call of the Mountain Chocobo. So this is 3 and a red for a sorcery. Search your library for a mountain card, reveal it, and put it to your hand. Then shuffle, and then also create a 2/2 green bird creature token with whenever a land you control enters, this token gets +1/+0 until end of turn. There's a lot of ways to create these 2/2 bird tokens, and they do kind of go crazy, especially if you get multiple landfall triggers per turn. Mm-hmm. This also has flashback, and this is like perfect for this vector. It's going to get you a land to kind of trigger your landfall triggers. It's going to give you a bird that does care about landfall. I love this vector. This is like my bread and butter.
Mm-hmm. I haven't gotten the draft yet, but I'm excited to. It looks sick. Let's take a look at green-white, the vector that we're calling gatheryourparty.net. We have Garnet, Princess of Alexandria. That's a real place, isn't it? Kind of library of green-white for a 2/2 legendary creature, human noble cleric. It's a lifelinker, so 2-mana 2/2 lifelink. Whenever it attacks, you may remove a lore counter from each of any number of sagas you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Garnet for each lore counter removed this way. I had this in a green-white deck, with which I had a bunch of sagas. I had an attack as a 4/4 once, and it was pretty good. You know?
Yeah. And especially, there's a couple sagas that ETB, like their first chapters, like destroy target tapped creature or something like that. And if you're able to remove that, if you're able to remove that first lore counter and have that re-trigger on your upkeep, it's pretty good value. I mean, you have to build around it pretty specifically, but it does work.
Yeah. I'm actually a little more excited. I think maybe the truer vector here is because like the sagas, that's all well and good. I think maybe the green-white vector really is what Renoa Heartily?
Yeah.
Heartily. I'll go with 3 green-white for a 4/4 legendary creature, human rebel warlock. Sure. When it enters, create Angelo, a legendary 1/1 green and white dog. Angelo Cannon. I can't with this stuff. What does that mean? What does that mean?
You shoot Angelo out of a cannon.
Whenever Renoa attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature you control. And that's automatically going to be 2 as long as you still have Renoa and Angelo laying around. This card is awesome. I was pumping for like 8 with this. I mean, just get a bunch of cards that make multiple bodies. There's a handful of them that do that. And this card, it really just goes off. You give this pump ability to a lifelinker or a flyer or an evasive ability like Menace or Trample or something, and you smack for 1 billion damage.
Yeah, we had a card like this in Tarkir that kind of went into the Mardu vector that cared about the amount of attacking creatures you had, and that was pretty powerful. So this seems fitted, and I agree. This kind of seems like the true vector of the green-white, which is kind of like a go wide strategy. But again, this kind of leans into like what Garnet is hinting at, like another sub-vector within this vector. It's interesting. I'm curious to know like their actual decision here.
The Crystals Chosen is a fantastic combination with Manoa. I actually did manage to pull this off. It was pretty sick. Crystals Chosen is 5 and white. It's a sorcery at uncommon, and it says create 4 1/1 colorless hero creature tokens, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Ugh.
Beautiful.
Man, I have a little bit of a vendetta against Universes Beyond cards in the Draft Chaff Cube, but this one is really making me question that, because within like the white go wide vectors, within the counters vectors, within the free casting large instance and sorcery vectors, within the sacrifice vectors, I mean, this does a lot. We also have Rydia's Return. This is 3 green. It's a sorcery, and it says creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn, or return up to 2 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. I love the flexibility with this. If your board is wide, it doesn't trample, but if you have enough creatures, this is basically going to end the game as well as any overrun would. Or if your board is not as big as you want it to be, just get some stuff back and start building it out.
Next, we have the Orzhov vector here. I'm calling this one Artifact and Sack. These are pretty classic vectors that we've kind of seen so far. First, we have Judge Magister something Gabe. I'm calling him Gabe. It's Gabe now. He's white and a black for a 2/2 Human Advisor Knight, legendary creature. He has Menace. He also has whenever another creature or artifact you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Judge. Gabe. Pretty good. Not bad. Then we have Rufus Shinra, a 1 white and black for a 2/4 Human Noble. He's very anime and very sexy looking. Legendary creature. Whenever he attacks, if you don't control a creature named Darkstar, create Darkstar, a legendary 2/2 white and black dog creature token.
That's a dog?
Apparently. This is fine. I've seen this card kind of pop off where you have a way to... The one I kept seeing was they had Phantom Train, which is when you sacrifice a creature, it becomes a train like token. You don't have to crew it. It attacks, this attacks, it creates another dog. You get a kind of an unlimited outlaw, unlimited sacrifice outlet when this thing attacks. So
yeah,
not too crazy.
And I guess when you attacks, no, it's only if you don't control it. Doesn't legend rule.
Yeah, no legend rule.
Yeah, so I guess the joke is that you want to find a way to make sure that this can keep attacking, and also make sure that you have a
kill your
thing
dog.
to do with the dog. Yeah, like to be maximizing this card's vector, you need to kill the dog every turn.
I wish this had Menace or some kind of evasion, maybe Death Touch.
Yeah,
just to make the incentive to attack. I'm sure that's why they give it a 4 toughness, but you know.
It is kind of an infinite blocker. You just jump with the dog every turn, and I came across that. Yeah, like I was smacking them with a 5/5, and they're like, "Yeah, block with the dog, get it back next turn." I'm like, my attacks aren't actually doing anything here. They just chip in for 2 every turn. I guess the Judge Magister Gabe over there would be, growing each time that happens. But I like it when the signposts are the sack outlet a little more, like an aristocrat style card. But can't ask for everything.
I agree.
Good. It's the 5 mana 3/5 white reach.
Why did I pick names that I can't pronounce? This is Garatia. It's a 4 and a white for a 3/5 cat archer. It is an archer, Ben, so it does have reach.
I still don't like it.
There's your breakup. It has an ability that I'm not going to pronounce. Whenever one or more other creatures and or artifacts you control die, draw a card. It only triggers once each turn. This is fine, nice and clean. It's a little pricey.
It's a Morbid Opportunist. I mean, that card was
a 5 mana orb, but yeah. And then next we have Reno and Rude. Again, sexy anime guys, I guess. So it's 1 and a black for a 2/1 human assassin, legendary creature. It has Menace. Whenever Reno and Rude deal combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library. Then you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, you may play the exiled card to this turn and may use any mana of any color to cast it. Here's your sack outlet. It's a free sack outlet if it hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't love this
very rude.
This card is rude. I will say it's pretty decent. I hate when people steal my stuff, but this vector feels the most loose to me so far that I've experienced.
I agree. It seems like it's sort of cobbled together out of what the other vectors are trying to do.
Yes, I agree.
Let's talk a little bit about 4 or more, the blue-red vector.
Good luck.
Shantoto Tactician Magician. Say that 3 times fast. Shantoto Tactician Magician. Shantoto. I'm off it. Shantoto Tactician Magician is 1 blue-red for a 0/4 dwarf wizard. It's a legend at uncommon. And it says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Shantoto gets +X/+O until end of turn, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. If X is 4 or more, draw a card.
This card's great. I love this card.
This is a funny one. You can just like stone cold attack this into like any kind of board, and then just kind of look at your opponent and say, all right,
test me. Because this is good, because it's a 3 CMC. So you play this turn 3, and then turn 4, you're like, I have a 4 CMC or instant speed?
And if you've drafted to your vector, you better. Hopefully it's a kill spell or a bounce spell or maybe like a busted rare or something.
And it replaces itself. Sick. Yeah, I love this card. I've drafted this vector once, and it's been a ton of fun.
It's like a scary blocker too. Yeah, this card's great. We also have the Emperor of Palamecia. This is blue-red for a 2/2 legendary creature, human noble wizard. It taps to add blue or red, and you spend this mana only to cast a non-creature spell. Well, I mean, that's kind of cool. So turn 2, you have this, and then turn 4, immediately you can play one of the non-creature 4-power things. Or 4 mana things. And it says, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, put a +1/+1 counter on the Emperor of Palamecia. Cool. Then if it has 3 or more +1/+1 counters on it, transform it. Oh God, what is it now?
Better be hot.
Lord Master of Hell. What?
Okay.
All right. It's a legendary creature, Demon Noble Wizard. It has, whenever the Lord Master of Hell attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard, which is presumably already 3.
Yeah, not bad. I love Lord Master of Hell as an uncommon. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like, all right, how hardcore are we going here? Yeah. I guess that also means that you have at least 3 in the graveyard, and this is attacking as a 6/6 because it has 3 counters on it. This
transforming keeps counters. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That does make it a little better in my head.
Yeah, rather than be like an exile in return or something.
Yeah.
Huh.
I like this vector. I think this vector is a ton of fun.
Yeah. I haven't gotten a play with blue-red yet, but I mean, this looks like a lot of fun. Yeah. I guess the question is, can you achieve a critical density of those 4 cost or like 4 with kicker costs to be able to actually pull this off?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great ones that at 4. There's a lot of, obviously, we talked about some of the job cards that create creatures.
Yeah.
There's also some 4 CMC sorceries that create like 3/3 bodies. There's ways to make it work. There's a lot of options. And like you mentioned, the fact that you can kind of upcost those to kind of fit into this vector really works out pretty powerfully.
Here's one that I really like. I have gotten to play this one already. Eject. I love a nice clean 1-word card. 3 to blue, instant and uncommon. This spell can't be countered. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Oh.
Clean.
This is the kind of thing that makes you feel like a blue player. I mean, this is like
yes, value.
Yeah, and it's an instant too, so you can leave it up. And then, I mean, this is the kind of one where you attack with Shantoto, and then you're like, all right, I just feel safe with this. It can't be countered either. Man, this is brutal. There's also Sorceress's Schemes. 3 and a red for a sorcery at uncommon. Return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard or exiled card with flashback you own to your hand. Add red. And then it has flashback for 4 and a red. I don't know how often that red is going to matter. I guess you could do this on maybe like turn 7, and then you get to double 4 cost cast.
Yeah, it's a weird card. I kind of picked it just to kind of show that's like a non-creature vector. But yeah, it's kind of pricey for what it does, I feel like. But whatever. Because it's kind of that one extra red makes you feel like you have to use it, right? Like if you're playing this turn 4 and you don't have a way to use that 1 mana, it feels like you're wasting, but whatever.
It is pretty good with fire magic, which or is it lightning magic?
They both have 1 CMC costs.
What's the 1 mana deal to? The shot.
That's the
thunder magic. Yeah. So if you get to use that in the early game and then get this back on turn 4 and then shock something else, I mean, that's obviously awesome.
Sure. Yeah. All right. This is the vector I'm calling Yard Sale. This is our classic Golgari Graveyard Matters vector. So first we have Cloud of Darkness, which doesn't sound like a creature type or creature name. Every time this is like, I read this, I'm like, this isn't a creature, right? This is like an instant.
It should be an enchantment or like
or something. So Cloud of Darkness is 2 black and double green for a 3/3 legendary creature avatar with flying. It has the ability Particle Beam. So when Cloud of Darkness enters, target creature and opponent controls gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. So this vector cares about permanents in your graveyard. So you're incentivized to kind of go away from non-creatures, kind of mill yourself out. And it seems pretty powerful so far. I think this is actually one of the highest win rate gold cards in the format so far. So we'll see. Next, we have X Death Void Warlock. Pretty sweet name, I gotta say.
Is it X Death or is Death its X?
It's probably X is his death. They broke up. I think it was pretty nasty. He's flipped. He's changed a lot since then. So we'll see. It's 1 a black and a green for a 3/3 Spirit Warlock legend. When it enters, you gain 3 life. Sure. And at the beginning of the end step, if there are 6 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, transform X Death.
Before I transform it, can you just read that flavor text for me real quick?
Witness what befalls those who stand against me.
Awesome.
I want to kind of play Final Fantasy now. I gotta say.
Yeah. What is this art? Oh my god.
This art. Have you played? What is it? It's like roguelike with the Greek gods. Hades. Have you played Hades at all?
No, I haven't. I heard good things.
This looks like chaos in the first game to me.
This looks like Katamari Damacy to me, just like an absolute cluster of just stuff happening.
So he flips into Neon X Death. This feels like a Yu-Gi-Oh card, actually. Yeah. Neon X Death Dimensions End. This is an uncommon, by the way. These names are insane for uncommons. So this is a star and 3 toughness legendary creature spirit avatar with trample. Neon X Death's power is equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. This is pretty good. I mean, you figure this is going to be a 6/3 when it flips automatically. Yeah. It does have a ton of wings on it and does not have flying, and it looks like it's in space. But
it's like 8 or 9 wings on it. Oh my god!
I think it's also got like this anglerfish kind of vibe going with that like girl in the light in the bottom.
Yeah, what's up with that? And there's like a hand. So there's also the main thing which looks jacked.
Yeah,
but then there's like a dragon head, a unicorn. Is that like a snake head?
I see like this looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. This looks like some fusion monster you'd see in the early Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, it does. Wow.
But yeah, both these cards play pretty powerfully into the kind of Golgari self-mill, fill your graveyard with permanents vibe. There's a couple ways to do that. We can look. Oh, actually, yeah, this is a great. So this is actually I think one of the only meld cards in the set. So these are our 2 kind of cards that play well into the vector here. We have Fang Fearless Icy. I'm calling it Icy because I like Icies.
I can't tell if it's an L or an I.
Shout out Blue Raspberry here, okay? So this is a 2 and a black, 2/3 human warrior legendary creature. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, you draw a card and lose 1 life. This ability only triggers once each turn.
Interesting.
There's a couple cards that return permanents. That kind of matters. Speaking of 1, we have Vanilla. Oh, Vanilla Icy.
Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Cheerful Icy. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. This is a 3 and a green for a 3/2 human cleric at legend. When it enters, mill 2 cards, then return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Man, these 2 cards work pretty well together. Won't you say? I'd say they play off each other's vibe a little bit.
I think maybe you're supposed to play Fang on turn 3, then Vanilla on turn 4, and then immediately draw a card and lose a life. And then maybe do something on turn 5?
Yeah, let's keep reading Vanilla. So at the beginning of your main phase, if you control both Vanilla and a creature named Fang Fearless Icy, sure, you may pay 5. So you may pay 5, 3 colorless, a black and a green. If you do, exile them and meld them into Ragnarok Divine Deliverance.
What is this?
It is crazy. So this is Ragnarok Divine Deliverance, a 7/6 beast avatar legendary. It has vigilance, menace, trample, reach, and haste. When it dies, destroy target permanent and return target non-legendary permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Oh my god, this is insane.
Dude, I pulled a Vanilla in foil at pre-release, and the back of it is beautiful because the back's foiled too for this.
Oh, so you get the top. You got the top
Yes,
part, the
I got
art
the top
part?
half. Yeah.
But not the text box.
Not the text box.
You got the good half. Yeah, that
Yes.
art is pretty sick. I gotta hand it to them.
I mean, these cards, like, I love these cards. Like, I don't even care about the meld abilities. Just the cards themselves are pretty decent by themselves. But if you ever get to pull off that meld, like, oh, that would be a bulletin board, or if we ever did those again.
Yeah, that's a bounty board for sure.
Bounty board, thank you.
Yeah, Fang and Vanilla. I mean, Fang seems like it might be a little tricky to trigger. There are other cards. There's like the classic 2-mana mill 4, return a land from graveyard to hand. There's other ways like regrowths and reanimates. Vanilla is just better value on its own. I think you're playing this in basically any green deck, but obviously it's better with the graveyard vector. And then if you do get to meld these, just send us a screenshot.
Please, I want to see this. I want to see what it looks like on Arena.
Oh yeah, with a melding animation and everything. I'm sure someone's gotten it already. Let's talk about red white, equipped and ready. Let's talk about yeah. Oh my god, King of the Dwarves. Okay. Red white for a 1/1. It is a legendary creature. It is a dwarf noble. It is a double striker, and it says whenever Gyat or another dwarf you control enters, and whenever an equipment you control enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Sure. 1 mana, 2 mana, 1/1 double striker obviously works really well if you can equip it, and then you get to rummage. I don't think there's any other dwarves in the set really. Maybe like 1 or 2. But really, it's that equipment entering rummaging. I found that to be pretty useful. Now we also have Zidane, Tantalus Thief. This is 3 red white for a 3/3. Now, full disclosure. Red white is the artifact equipment vector. Gyat is what you're trying to do. You're trying to do stuff with equipment. I don't know what Zidane is saying to do. Zidane says when it enters, gain control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it. It gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. Great card. I've won a couple games with this by itself. Love it. Also, it's a human mutant scout. Does this kid have a tail?
I didn't realize it said mutant. Wow. I didn't notice that at all. Interesting.
But here's the funny part. I think this is a hint to a vector that maybe they're doing like a commander precon for in a couple sets. They're trying to seed this, but whenever an opponent gains control of a permanent from you, you create a treasure token.
So
that doesn't.
This doesn't fit the vector. There is a rare white card in this set. It's a mogul. It's a 1 CMC. Like you could pay to tap it to give one of your permanents to an opponent.
Oh, sure.
There's like, it's so strange. Like this feels so out of left field. I don't know. I was kind of annoyed when I put this together and read this because I'm a Boros player, and I don't know. I feel cheated.
You know what? It's going to. It should appease you that you will never see that ability trigger because when you cast Zidane and take their 7/7 flyer or something, you just win. I don't think I ever saw that ability resolve in the couple times that I got to cast Zidane. It just wins. So now what would be good on turn 2 if you're going to be putting a bunch of equipment that come in later into your deck? How about Adalbert Steiner?
He looks like Buzz Lightyear every time I see it.
This art is kind of silly. I don't really know what's going on. I assume this is from one of the earlier games before they had good faces. Because the fact that there's like this art and then also that artifact with like the 4 dudes in the car. It's like those are just guys in a car.
I love that.
This is one of the white for a 2/1 lifelinker. It's a legendary human knight. And Adalbert Steiner gets +1/+1 for each equipment you control. I've seen this thing be like a 4/3 for 2 lifelinker. This thing wears equipment really well. I mean, this is great. Another maybe slightly worse, but decent card to have on turn 2 if you're playing equipment is Item Shopkeep. This is 1 in red for a 2/2 human citizen at common. It says whenever you attack, target attacking equipped creature gains menace until end of turn. Nice. Let something chip in. You don't really want this with one that already has menace. It's a bit of an anti-vector synergy there, but try to find ways that the equipment gets you benefit from attacking or dealing damage. There's a couple of them where when they deal damage or get to attack multiple times, you get repeated triggers that can be pretty useful.
Final vector here we have for green blue is Town to Town. So towns are the new land type in this set. they're just an additional. It's just a land type. They're called towns. So we have Igneous Scientia. I can't read, man. Who put me up here?
This is a guy drinking coffee and eating.
He's eating a
scones or
BLT.
something. Like,
Yeah,
what is it?
He's chilling.
Is that wine on the table?
What is photoshopped in almost?
Honestly, this looks like a nice. I would eat whatever he's got there, like a triple deck or something.
Now I'm hungry. So he's a 1 green and a blue for a 2/2 human advisor legend. When he enters like the top 6 cards of your library, you may put a land from among them onto the battlefield tapped, put the rest into the bottom of your library in a random order. He also has, I've come up with a new recipe, and this is 1 green and a blue, and tap him to exile target creature from your graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, create a food token. Yeah, cool.
Sure.
Yeah, but see, like this is kind of like leaning into the maybe I should be playing 3-color Teamer because this is a landfall ability.
Yeah,
interesting. Just something to think about.
Yeah, this is a good one to flicker or recur if you can ever do that too. Just getting a ton of towns in play seems like it's a pretty good strategy.
All right, let's go from this Chef to Omega Heartless Evolution.
What is this? What is this art?
I can't even tell what's going on. I pulled the borderless version of this just now, and I can't even tell what's going on in it.
Yeah.
So Omega is a 5 green and a blue for an 8/8 legendary artifact creature robot. It has a wave cannon. When Omega enters, for each opponent, tap up to 1 target non-land permanent that opponent controls. Put X stun counters on it. On each of those permanents and gain X life, where X is the number of non-basic lands you control. The towns in this set are non-basic lands.
Yeah, I did this for 5 once. Not gonna lie, felt pretty great.
Yeah,
at that point, you just played an 8/8, so that thing is functionally never coming back. I mean, the game is going to end one way or another.
Yeah.
And gaining 5 life was very relevant too. There was a fly board. My first deck was like 5-color towns. I went 2-1 with it. It felt pretty good, and this was a great top end.
Yeah. Yep. So the 2 cards that work pretty well in this are Travel the Overworld, which is a 5 and 2 blue for a sorcery. It also has Affinity for Towns, which is just a great word to read. It's just draw 4 cards. You know, if you could, that's insane. You know,
love it.
What's the lowest this is good at? Like, even like, I don't know, 6 mana feels great to draw 5. I don't even know. Like,
you're happy spending a turn doing this,
yeah.
But when you get to like on turn 6, when you get to like play this for, I don't know, you could realistically do this for like 4 or 5 mana later in the game, and then getting to play like 1 or 2 things right away. That's really good. Yeah.
Before I go forward to it, I just want to mention, like, this vector really wants you to play 5 colors. There's a rare that it's these 2 colors, but it has a Wooburg ability that cares about towns. You know, towns are all common dual lands, so it really wants you to play as many of those as you can. And Reach the Horizon plays into that great as well. It's 3 and a green for sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and or town cards with different names and put them on the battlefield tapped. It's kind of really wants you to play 5 color. This is great. I mean, I like these type of cards, you know. Obviously, it's going to be a slow build, but, you know, Reach the Horizon is going to make your Travel the Overworld cost 2 less.
Yeah, typically with the 4-mana sorcery ramp spell, it doesn't get dual lands, like the common duels. Typically, it only gets basics. So this being able to fix perfectly, I mean, if you just have a couple of towns that like are your fixing, this gets them every time. That's really strong.
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of the lands and the towns, we should talk about them a little bit. One example of the towns is Windurst Federation Center. This is green, white 1. As with all the towns, they enter tapped and they have subtype town. There are a couple other common payoffs for having a bunch of towns as well. But know that there are 10 of these, and I believe they take the common land slot. So you definitely want to pick these up, even if you're playing a 2-color deck. Remember that typical like 9/8 split is not good mana. That is bad mana, especially in Modern Limited, where they print like 3 mana, like 1 white for a 3 mana rare. You probably won't always be able to cast that with like 9 planes in a deck, for example. So if you get the opportunity, take these highly for your deck. I pick these like 4th or 5th pick if I'm in a 2-color pair, say pack 3 or something. We've got Crossroads Village. This is a great one to pick up because it's a town, and ETB is tapped, and as it enters, you choose a color. They print one of these in every set, and they're always good. Pick this up, especially if you're playing more than 2 colors.
You're not going to read the last one? I picked that one specifically for us, Ben.
Oh, I didn't even see
Vector.
It's called Vector. There's a card called Vector. Oh, I have to put it in the cube. I put every card with the name Vector in the Chaff cube.
And a couple things I want to mention here too. There was a lot more other towns that were printed. That most of them tap for colorless, but I believe every non-basic land in this format is a land or is a town card where that is relevant. And I also want to point out that these common duels have names like they're legendaries, but they are not legendary lands. That threw me off during Sealed.
Point.
Like if you're going to name something, it's usually legendary.
Yeah.
That's all. And I also want to point out that the background on this is a pixelated version of the old school Windows hill.
Yeah. Well, yes, it is. That's awesome.
That's it. That's all I have to say about it.
Now that would be a land art that I would buy.
Oh, yes.
Secret Lair Windows XP.
I would spend too much money on that.
Yeah. So we're not going to cheat here and like look at the top commons and replace them. We're going off intuition here. We have some thoughts on what the top commons in each color could be. For white, Summon Chokomog, 3-mana 3/3. It is an enchantment creature, Saga Bird, Moogle. Whatever. It's a Stampede. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Obviously, this is at its best in the go wide, probably in green white, but this card looks strong. White Auracite is 2 white for an artifact. When it ETBs, exile target online permanent and opponent controls until this thing leaves the battlefield, and then it taps for white. This card is wild. It's really good in blue-white where you get artifact synergy, but any white deck that's going a little bit bigger, like trying to cast 5 or 6 drops, you will still play this.
Yep.
And then Dwarven Castle Guard, one of the white 2/1. It's a dwarf soldier at common. Oh, another dwarf. So trigger Yacht. And then when this thing dies, create a 1/1 colorless hero. So it dies into a body. Zach can use it. Red-white always wants bodies around. Green-white always wants bodies around. I guess blue-white doesn't really do anything with this, but I guess, artifacts, equipment still.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this one. Top blue commons, we got Dragoon's Wyvern.
Not touching this one.
So this is a 2 blue, 2 white flyer. ETBs creates a 1/1 colors hero. We've seen this kind of effects in every limited format, and they're always powerful. This one also has a flyer on it, so winning. Next, we got Rook Turret, 3 and a blue for a 3/3 artifact creature construct. It has flying. Whenever another artifact you control enters, draw a card, discard a card. A lot of artifact synergy in this. This also has flying. Seems like a good fit. And finally, we have Ice Magic, 1 and a blue for an instant with tiered. You can do Blizzard for 0, return target creature to its owner's hand. Blizzara for an additional 2, put it on the top or bottom of opponent's library, their choice. Or Blizzaga. Sure. What is this? Is this Blizzinga? What is it? Whatever. For an additional 5 and a blue, target creature's owner shuffles it into their library. Hilarious.
That's good removal.
Yeah.
For black, we have Vane's Treachery. 1 and a black. It's got a kicker. Wait. They put kicker and tiered in the same set? Are you kidding? They could have just called it all kicker. Okay. Kicker. Sack an artifact or a creature. Target creature gets -2/2 until end of turn. If the spell was kicked, it gets -6/6 instead. We have seen this exact card a bunch of times, and it's always good.
Yep.
Cornered by Black Mages, that was the 3-mana Edict that makes a 1/1 wizard. We expect this to be pretty good. And Resentful Revelation, 1 and a black sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 into hand and the rest into the graveyard. And it also has flashback for 6 and a black. So it kind of feeds itself. You can get multiple of these. It's good to loot away. It's good to rummage away. Yep. Also just good to stock up the graveyard in green-black. So it seems like this has a lot of homes.
Top red commons, we're looking at Suplex. This is 1 and a red for a sorcery. Suplex deals 3 damage to target creature. If that creature would die, exile it instead. Or you can exile target artifact. It's a great braid effect, Not at instant speed, but it's still pretty solid. Next, we have Summon GF Ifrit. It is a 2 and a red for a 3/2 Saga Demon. It has 4 chapters. So chapter 1 and 2, you're going to discard a card and draw a card. And then chapters 3 and 4, you're going to add 1 red to your mana pool.
What is it, Fable the Mirror Breaker?
I thought this was pretty solid because you kind of set up your late game, and then by chapter 3 or 4, you're like, all right, I have the extra mana to cast the card I kind of wanted.
Yeah.
And lastly, we have Thunder Magic. So this is another tiered card. It's base 1 red. You can do Thunder for an additional 0. It deals 2 damage to target creature. Thundara, an additional 3 colorless, deal 4 damage to target creature. Or for an additional 5 colorless and 1 red, you can do Thundaga, where it deals 8 damage to target creature.
We are approaching dangerous levels of anime waifu girl with I don't know, exposed legs on Magic card. This one's pushing the boundaries, but very strong card.
Just wait till you see some of the borderless cards, and yeah.
Admittedly, I haven't really looked at those yet. No comment. Oh, and for our top green comments, we have Balam T-Rexar. It's a T-Rex. It's a T-Rex. It's a colossal dreadmaw, but it's better. 6 mana. It's 4 green for 6/6 trample. It's a dinosaur at common. When it ETBs, gain 3 life, and it has forest cycling for 2. Each color has the cyclers, but I think this one's the best by a long shot. I mean, this is just, it's a colossal dreadmaw, but better. It has cycling and gain 3 life. It's awesome.
Yep. And the cyclers in the Golgari color combos are always better because it's a format that cares about graveyard. So
for sure. We have Chocobo Kick. This art is kind of funny. I got to hand it to them on this one. Is that like a lizard or something?
It looks like an ant because it's got the mandibles.
Yeah, I don't really know. One of the green sorcery at common. It is kicker because it's kicked.
It's kicking.
The kicker.
We got there.
Return a land you control to its owner's hand, which is obviously good if you want to re-trigger kicker stuff. I did have to use this as an emergency on turn 3 once. That was not good. You don't want to be doing that, but they played like one of the 3 mana win the game bomb legends, so it works. But of course, we should explain the rest of the card. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. If the spell was kicked, it deals twice that much damage instead. This can kill anything, and in the late game, returning a card, a land to your hand to re-trigger all of your Chocobo triggers. Good stuff. Oh, actually, you know what? It might also re-trigger some of the non-basic town lands, too. If they have, like, ETBs or things like that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And then Town Greeter. 1 of the green, 1/1. It's a human citizen. It's a common. This is the classic ETB mill 4. You can put a land from among them into your hand, and if you put a town into your hand this way, you gain 2 life. That is a really strong effect for a 2-mana card. I think this may actually end up being green's top.
It's a great card. Yeah, it feels like a Ravnica card when I look at it. It feels like this is like a gate card. you know,
it does. That, dear listener, takes us to the end of our format breakdown. Hopefully you enjoyed running through these vectors. Even just talking about it does make me enjoy the set more. I am excited to try drafting a little more. I do have a little bit of beef with this set already, and that's that some of these legendary flip mythics are just so... I mean, they're clearly top-down designs where each of their abilities pertains to something in the game, and I get that. That's cool. But, like, they all destroy a permanent, and they all are 5/5 flyers, and they all flip back onto their front side. There's no downside. There's no risk. It's becoming a bit of a slugfest. And then when you're the one that opens a rare land that's, like, unplayable, you're like, there goes 1,500 gems. Like, this one's over.
I had 3 rare lands in my sealed pool at pre-release, and I was like, I made it work because I played 5-color soup, but feels bad.
Yeah. Let's hop into our Teferi Tibble. Tell you what, you've been dying to crack that pack all day. I think we should crack the pack. This is part of your Teferi.
This is a collector booster of Final Fantasy. These are not cheap. For a standard set, these prices are insane.
Hopefully what you're about to open.
Oh, I think Kefka Court Mage. This is I don't even know what this is worth. Ben, you're gonna my TCG guy.
I'm on it. What art treatment is it?
I think it's the borderless. No. What are the options? Borderless or what?
Does it have like that one? That is looks like $11 non-foil.
Ugh.
Sorry.
Wait, it's the foil. It's foil.
Oh. Foil is $27. Not bad.
Okay, I paid for half the pack. Next we have all right, these are the special art treatments in this, or the alt art cards. Or no, that's the bonus sheet. I'm sorry. So this is Crysters of Alter Cave. So these are actually pictures from the actual games for these. This is Chromatic Lantern.
I think they look really bad.
I agree. Some of them are really bad.
Look awful.
But there's Rhystic Study in this format. There's Counterspell. I actually opened an Azusa Lost But Seeking in one of these.
That's cool.
There's There's also like a copper dragon from whatever the Dungeons and Dragons set. Like there's some insane power.
A really expensive one, like
yes.
Roll a d20.
Next we got Global's Crystal Collector. I'm just gonna burn through these. Sure, names I can't pronounce. Names I can't pronounce. Yeah, okay.
More names you can't pronounce.
More names I can pronounce. Oh, and there's Vanilla. See, like
hey,
you
Vanilla.
You got all the sexy anime girls.
Sure,
not bad. Cool.
Give the Final Fantasy fans what they're
That was it. That was my Tybalt. Or actually, it was actually my Tybalt and my Teferi because that cost me $50, which is insane for a collector pack. But I'm a whale who likes to spend his money.
What else is going on in your life?
Also,
high or low?
Yeah, so this is we got my first Father's Day coming up, which it's so weird. You know, I'm so used to celebrating my Father's Day with my father, but now I'm the daddy.
You're the daddy.
So we're going away for a little bit. It'll be nice. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, Daddy Tyler.
Daddy Tyler. Love it. Tybalt's life's always hectic, but it's also good. You know, means life's progressing. So nothing too crazy. Yeah. How about you?
Oh, that was very deep.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, I am liking my haircut. That's definitely
it is stylish.
Teferi, thank you. I do feel a lot better. The bob was not doing it for me. That really didn't work. This was always the goal. I was just a coward. I couldn't cut it all off at once, and I do kind of miss it. But let me see my Teferi. Okay, so I went to this wedding. It was actually my first gay wedding. It was a lesbian wedding.
Ooh, nice.
During Pride Month. It was a little rainy out, but there were rainbows during the ceremony.
That's
for a lesbian wedding during Pride
ask for
Month.
Better.
It was pretty sick. I mean, how do you get better than that? That was definitely a high. Oh, dude, how can I? Oh my god, I forgot to tell you. I went to the Big Duck.
The Big Duck.
The Big Duck. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. I'm pulling up pictures. Okay, so I went to the Big Duck.
The Big Duck.
So
is it a house?
So it's a gift shop. Inside is there you go.
It's a domesticated mallard.
I believe you. So it's a tiny little like roadside attraction on Long Island, and Mia tried to surprise me with it. But I had heard of it, and she was like, "By the way, we're stopping somewhere on the way to the wedding."
Is it the Big Duck?
And I was like, "It's not the Big Duck, is it?" Because I'd heard that was there, and she was like, "No, you knew about the Big Duck." Anyway, we dropped over $150 on Big Duck merchandise. I am not at all ashamed to. Hold on, I've got.
Show me your Big Duck, Ben. Whip it out. Yeah, now, buddy.
I got a Big Duck tote bag. I got a Big Duck keychain.
Big Duck feels very Adventure Time coded.
Oh, it is. This place was like the people that were there. The worker inside was awesome. A biker gang pulled up to see the Big Duck, and we were hanging out with this like elderly biker gang. It was so sick, dude. So that was the Big Duck. My other Teferi. Mia is my girlfriend Mia, for those listening who may not know her. She's featured on a couple Draft Chaff episodes when she knew nothing about Magic, but she's getting really good really fast. Like,
let's draft. I want to get her on the draft cycle.
Yeah, dude. So the other day we had like a free day, which is super rare for us. So that we woke up and she was like, "You want to play Magic all day?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." Obviously. So that was awesome. She's been learning a couple different deck styles. I played a Turbo Fog deck against her, and she did not like that very much. But here's the best part. As I was playing Turbo Fog, it was Maze's End Turbo Fog, and I told her it's like a rite of passage. Everyone has to play against the Turbo Fog deck at some point. She was playing a black-white sack life drain deck, which is becoming her thing very quickly. And she was like, "How do you actually beat this? Like, what do you do against Turbo Fog?" I told her just, win faster. So, even while losing to it, she told me she was still having fun in seeing that that's what other decks can do. And I was like, yes, you get it. Like,
just play Questing Beast. Damage can't be prevented.
Yeah, there you go. Oh my God. I got to show her Questing Beast. It'll blow her mind.
It'll blow her. I was going to say, dude, keep it easy.
Yeah. My Tybalt, Not a lot. I'm gonna miss my students. It's the end of the school year, so it has been a rough end of the school year. It's been a ton of work. I've been burning the candle at both ends. I'm super sleep deprived. I'm probably gonna go to bed as soon as we're done recording this, and it's only like 9 p.m. So
That's my
and it's a Friday. I could be going and doing stuff, but not tonight. With that, dear listener, I think we've reached the end. I think it's bedtime. Thank you for joining us, and do be sure to hop into the Discord and share with us what you think about Final Fantasy. Are you liking it? Are you liking the cards, the art, the flavor? I don't know. This is a big swing for Universes Beyond. I'm glad that it's working out for Magic, but I don't know. I'm still a little hesitant. Do be sure to hop over to Twitter and Blue Sky to follow us there as well. Mostly on Blue Sky, not really on Twitter so much. Thank you, dear listener, and we will see you next week.
Hopefully.
Okay, quick sign off. I have a deal going with all my students that if anyone gets an uncurved 100% on the final exam for honors physics, 60 multiple choice questions, 50 free response points, that I would make them a cake from scratch.
Ooh.
And let me tell you, I got the turbo nerds this year. These are freshman honors physics. They came in guns blazing. Nerds. And when I told them this, they almost didn't care as much about their grade. They knew they were all going to do fine. Cake. Yeah, they wanted the cake. So they were coming in and they were like, Mr. Fisher, let me see the exam I took 4 months ago that I got a 99 on. I want to study that one problem I got wrong. And I'm like, you got it. Like, this is awesome.
Respect.
And I had a bunch of 98s on this final exam, a bunch of 99s on this final exam, and I actually had a kid pull it off. A kid got a full 100 on an honors physics final. Unbelievable.
Did you make a cake?
Well, I emailed him, and of course I hyped it all up. I sent him an email with cake emojis as the subject line and nothing else. Like,
that's awesome.
And I told him to stop by after school today. So everyone else that was in the room at the time, they were like, dude, did you actually do it? And I was like, yeah, he's getting the cake. So he requested a funfetti cake with vanilla icing.
It's a good pick.
A unique challenge. I did tell him he can do whatever he wants with it. He can take it home, eat it all himself, share it with his family, share it with his friends, pie me in the face with it.
There it is.
I put that option on the table, and I may live to regret it.